right under the boat. Saw him on the old school traditional sonar. So we're back home here after the St. Lawrence River, and I am in my Morton building here, connected to the house, just hanging out. It's hot outside, but believe it or not, it still feels good in here. So just wanted to take a few minutes and just kind of talk about the drop shot. I mean, as being at a smallmouth event like this, and even looking back at my whole year of how important a drop shot is. If you're going smallmouth fishing, not only should you have one drop shot tied on, you should have several drop shots tied on. And this kind of is a good chance for me to just kind of explain to you what I learned this week about, just fishing for smallmouth and drop shotting, and just the importance of even different size weights. So, with that being said, I've got 3 setups here that I fished last week at the St. Lawrence River. And I think I had 5 different drop shots done up. One, because the zebra mussels were terrible. So it seemed like you wanted to have multiple done up because you went through a lot of drop shot weights and drop shot hooks just because of the zebra mussels. But, one of the things I got reminded of this week, depending on the conditions, were the different depths I was fishing, the amount of current. That made a big difference on the size weight I used. The baits definitely were critical. And, I've especially learned that after the fact when you watch live and you realize what some of your competition was doing. But, I guess first and foremost, the baits, the typical flatworms, that's such a popular bait right now for smallmouth. But the thing I can tell you about what I've learned over the years is it seems like smallmouth, the hot baits come and go. I mean, it's like it's always changing. And, the past few years were goby type baits. And, first it was tubes, then the drop shots came along and more your goby baits and minnow type baits, and then it's your flatworms. Well, it seems like that's even changing now. And I kind of wish I would have thrown them more and had more of them, is these baits now with the little tentacles sticking out of them. And the got to be the dumbest looking baits I've ever seen in my life. But believe it or not, it seems like they catch some fish, and they'll catch fish when others don't, because that's actually, I did catch some of my fish on this goofy looking bait. I've had a package of them. I've never thrown them my whole life until this event. And I pulled them out. The package had 4, and now I have 1 left. So I thought they would last longer than they do because they're that Elastec material, but the smallmouth could throw them off. But, the flatworm was definitely the deal. But now this crazy little dice, and now there's all kinds of different versions. Heck, I saw guys were making their own, taking little needles and putting the little skirt material through them. So if you're headed smallmouth fishing, you definitely need to be paying attention to that too. But I think what is more important, what was really an eye-opener to me, was the size weight. Now, when you fish the St. Lawrence River, if you get out into the main river, there's like a 3-mile-an-hour current. I mean, it's everything my trolling motor can do on high. That Garmin Force trolling motor with the Miller Tex, I mean, it's on high, and it's everything that they can do just to battle through that current. But with that being said, there were places out there in that main current, I'm fishing 40 and 50 foot deep. So trying to throw a little 3/8 ounce drop shot down there, you can't even get to the bottom. So I actually had the Cast King Speed Demon Pro shaky head rod here. This is a heavier action rod, but I had it geared up with a 1/2 ounce and even a 3/4 ounce drop shot weight, because I'd pull up beside a bridge piling or a channel marker, and I want to get that thing down to the bottom where the fish are, and it would take that much weight just to get it down there to those fish to be able to get the bait in front of them and catch them. So the size weight is crucial. So I was predominantly using a 3/8 ounce weight for most of it, but for the heavy current, I'm using this heavier rod because I'm using a heavier weight. So the 7-foot shaky head rod. But on the reels, it was the same reel for all the rods. It's the Cast King Speed Demon Pro. This reel is crucial when you're drop shotting. No different than using a high-speed reel when you're flipping and pitching. If I'm throwing that drop shot out in 30, 40, 50 foot of water, the amount of time it takes for me to reel that thing and make another cast, if I'm throwing a 5-to-1 gear ratio reel, I got to reel that much longer to get that bait up there and make another cast. This high-speed reel is huge. So on this one, I'm using 20-pound cast king braid, just for heavier setups and all that. I actually had this for wacky worming as well. So, and then a little number 4 Trocar TK150 hook. This is the rod I use most of the time. This is the 610 drop shot rod, the Speed Demon Pro, same reel, Speed Demon Elite 7 4-1. This one I had 15-pound braid. On all these, I was using an 8-pound gamma fluorocarbon leader. That's another important part too. Same thing, the little TK150 drop shot hook. Number 4, I like a small hook. I like the small hooks just because why do you need a big hook? The baits are pretty small, and believe it or not, that little tiny hook seems small, but it's crazy how good it hooks them. And when it comes to the drop shot, I didn't lose a single drop shot fish all week long. So if that little hook works, why change it? So that was a big deal there. So predominantly the 3/8 ounce weight, 1/4 ounce weight would be the 610 drop shot rod. Little Trocar drop shot does the drop shot hook does the deal. But here's what I was getting at. This is what really opened my eyes. Was the first day of the tournament. I pull into my key little stretch there. There's the bridge, and I throw my little 3/8 ounce weight up there, and I fish like 2 pilings, and I don't catch one. And it just happened. It was kind of a blessing in disguise. I got hung up, and I had to go up there and get my drop shot undone. As I'm going up there, I noticed there was a smallmouth, like a 3-pounder, just sitting there. And I was like, why the heck did he not bite my bait? So at that point, I'm like, I thought I was doing everything right. Obviously, I'm doing something wrong there. And that's when I look back at, my late buddy Aaron Martins and drop shotting. And he'd always talk about, using lighter weights and all that. And I'm like, I need to do something different here. So I pulled out a little 3/16 ounce sinker on my drop shot, put a lighter sinker on. And the reason I say that it was sunny. The day before in practice, it was cloudy, rainy, windy, and they were eating that 3/8 ounce weight fine. I think they were feeding. Well, now they're more in a negative, not feeding mindset, being a little more finicky. It was sunny, bluebird skies, and not a lot of wind. So believe it or not, I backed off, anchor locked with the trolling motor, sat down, tied on a little 3/16 ounce sinker, threw that same flatworm up there, and immediately hooked up. I don't know if it was the same fish or not, but it was like a 3-something pounder. Remember my rule, take my glasses off? And what was interesting is I went to the next couple pilings using that lighter weight and started to catch some fish. So I think the important thing to remember when it comes to drop shotting is you want to use a drop shot, a weight that will actually get it to the bottom. But sometimes if the fish are finicky, you want to use a lighter weight because it makes that bait look a little more natural as it's drifting through the waters. Look at that, right under the boat. Saw him on the old school traditional sonar. I don't know. Look at the other one with him. So, like I said, this setup, the little light one, is on the 610 finesse tube rod, a little bit lighter tip, but I can throw those really light weights a lot faster. Same hook, same 8-pound leader and all that, just a little bit lighter rod just for those lighter weight. So remember that when you're out there drop shotting, that you're out there, the bite gets tough or things have changed and you got to start experimenting. Sometimes the weight is more important than necessarily the bait. Let's just put him on to see.